welcome back to the show once again. Today we have a 2002 F-150 4x4 and we're going to be showing you how to change out your rear shocks. Now these may leak and wear out over time, usually every 60,000 miles, but the OE ones, from experience I can tell you, they last around 100,000 miles no problem. Now your brand of shock is kind of personal preference, just like oil, okay? But I can tell you Motorcraft makes a decent replacement, and the Bilsteins are one of the best though. So Ranchos are pretty good too. If you're looking for stock replacement, just go with Motorcraft. If you're trying to upgrade for off-road, go with the Bilsteins. Now, let me get you deep underneath here. Now the procedure is pretty simple. It's right out here in the open. But there's a few things you want to make sure of. You want to make sure that the weight of the vehicle is on the axle here, okay? So either do them on the ground, because there usually is a lot of clearance under here, or on jack stands as you see here. Both sides, we're equaling the ride height out and we're supporting the rear axle. So once it's like that, we can go ahead and start taking it off of here. It's kind of compressed. It's not really doing anything right now, and it's safe to take them off. Now down below here, you're going to find an 18mm bolt, both ends, nut and head. So on the side that's more crowded, you'll use a box end wrench right here and use an impact or a ratchet over here and get it off. What we're going to do is we're going to leave it in there. After the nut gets off, we're going to leave the bolt in there so it holds it in place. And then we're going to go up top here. And this is where it gets tricky, okay? You see this stud up here? This stud has lots and lots of corrosion on it. And it's going to be a pain to back that nut off on there. The stud's going to spin, and it's going to take forever to get it off there in general. So what we're going to do is what I usually do if I'm changing the shock out. What you want to do is invest in something like this if at all possible. Okay, regular right angle die grinder. We have a cutoff wheel. We can get up in there and zing it off just above the nut, and we back that nut off a thread or two, it's falling out. Okay, so that's something to think about too. Now, what you can do, because we are changing, it doesn't matter, is we can pull this down, put a vice grip right here real tight, okay, and just let it lay against the frame, and we can start loosening that nut up there and taking it off, okay, and that'll hold it from spinning too. So either way, it is doable. And look, there's tons of room back here. Now, on the driver's side there, you can see the front side, there's plenty of access, but the top part up there is kind of buried with the spare tire and all that, so you may want to drop the spare tire down and use the cutoff wheel style. So let's go ahead and get to it. I'll of course show you the procedure for one of these and torque specs and all that good stuff, and then of course you just repeat for the other side there. All right, here we go. So if your truck is dirty like this one right here, or heavily corroded, you want to get a wire brush in here and just get the dirt and majority of the corrosion off of the threads before you start taking it off of there. And this one's so bad, look at this, that we're actually gonna clean off the head so we can get a good grip and we don't round anything off. Now, Rust Penetrant, there's a lot of good ones out there. The Mopar one is one of the best while still being a great price. I'll link to it down below. It's a great formula. PB Blaster's good, of course. So just a quick shot on there. I don't think we're gonna need too much on this particular truck. Grab our 18mm on this side so we can hold the bolt. And we will zing it off of there. All right. All right, here we go. There it is. Now, this bottom bolt on here is not included in the hardware kit, so you want to make sure it's okay, and of course you want to retain it for future use. The kit includes all the bushings, washers, and a nut for the top part here for the Motorcraft kits. So like I said, we'll keep this in. There we go. We'll just keep it in there for right now. and we'll concentrate up top. Now on the top one, like I said, we're going to want to use a cutoff wheel and get rid of all those threads because we are discarding the shock and make it a lot easier on ourselves. Now if you are going to use a gear wrench and try to get it off there and hold it, of course wire brush and clean up these threads with some Rust Penetrant, let them soak for a bit. So this is how it works, and you can see with using a right angle like this, we can get up in here and just start cutting away at it. All right, let's put our vice grips on here. Nice and tight like that, and we'll hold our shaft from spinning. Spray a little bit of Rust Penetrant on that very tip up there. We got a little bit left, just a little bit of lube. And we'll let it sit for a second. Now these should be a 15 millimeter nut up here. That's what they usually are. Get all the corrosion off. Man, oh man. I think these are original, and this is a 02. I think. So, hopefully the nut is not too rounded off. Might be a 14. These flex head gear wrenches are the best for this situation because they give you, what, another inch or so? Almost 2 inches of leverage also. So I'll just get it on here. Just too corroded, it's a 14. Okay. Now, make sure you eat your Wheaties in the morning and just start wrenching. Okay, now once you get the nut off the top here, you want to go down below and pull your bolt the rest of the way out. You may have to lift the shock up just a little bit, pull it out, and put it up to the side, okay? And then it'll simply lower down and out of here. Now you want to make sure you get the old washers and bushings out of the housing here and just clean up the bulk of the corrosion on here and we'll be good to go for the new shock. Now one thing to note on the new shock here, it's something to note, is that a lot of these have a hex right here that is welded to the center rod here. So if you have a really thin 17 millimeter or a needle nose vice grips, you can get in there and hold that, and hopefully it holds while you take the nut off too. Anyways, and onto the new shocks like this. You may see a strap like this, and that's holding the shock nice and compressed, so it's easier for installation. So leave that on there. You want to make sure though that it's below the hex on here. Okay, so make sure it's below that. Then you put a washer on here. Okay, we'll start building our new shock. And then we're going to put our new bushings on here, one on each side. Now this side right here, you see is a lot bigger in the center. That actually matches the hole very well, and it'll center the shock in there for us. So you want that facing up, okay? And then we can simply just get it into place here. And we'll do the same thing up top. Match it up. Like so. Put our washer just like this so it supports it, and then we can get a nut going on here. Just get it started and it'll hold it in place for us. Now with a pair of side cutters ready to go, we have a small pry bar ready to go, and of course our bolt. We need to go ahead and cut this right here. What we're going to do is we're going to keep this underneath here, okay, because it's going to come all the way down and it's going to rest on this. Then we'll be able to lift it just enough to get the bolt going through. Now these are gas pressurized shocks, so just be ready for it. You can cut it anywhere on here and they won't shoot out, but they will come down pretty fast on here. So the idea here is you can slow it down like I'm doing, but you won't get it aligned perfectly on there. So it's better off to have the pry bar ready. you can, do it like that. And then we'll simply raise it up just a bit. Take the tension off so we can get it aligned like that. All right. And then you simply take off the rest of it here. The other half. Like so. And discard it. So at this point, the shock is fully in place and we're at ride height. That's key here. We're not going to stress any of these bushings out because we're already at ride height. That's why it's good to do in the ground or with the rear axle supported by jack stands, so all the weight's still on the rear axle. Okay. So at this point, you want to put some Loctite over here on the threads. A little Loctite on there. Blue Loctite is just fine, the medium strength stuff. And we'll go ahead and get this started on here. It's a little too much on there, huh? It's oozing out. Okay, so this point, it's held in place. We're at ride height. We're safe to actually tighten this down. And torque spec is 66 foot-pounds. So anywhere right around there is good to go. I tend to go higher, like in the 70s, like 75, back here to make sure nothing gets loose back here because we are reusing the old nut on here. All right. Snug it down, and then we'll do a final torque on it. Now back up top here with our bushings aligned in the mount, okay? You may find, like on this motorcraft, there's a 17mm hex. So you want to put a wrench in there to start holding it, and then we can finish tightening down this 14mm up here. Again, this is where the flex head really comes in and shines for us. There's not much else that can get up in here and ratchet like this in this tight of a space. Now, one thing you want to make sure of is it's going to be kind of hard to get it out of here, okay? So you don't want to go down too far, and then you can press it together and that stud goes even higher, okay? You won't be able to get it out. So just get it started to get the slack built up and make sure you can still get it out of here. All right, there it is, all installed, top and bottom, tightened down, torqued down, set to go. There's no need to do a final torquing once the vehicle gets on the ground because it technically is already on the ground. We have weight on the axle, so there's no twisting of the bushing going on once the vehicle gets dropped to the ground. So at this point, you just need to repeat the same exact procedure pretty much. On the other side, see it's a little bit more buried up in there, but it is doable, especially if you cut off that stud on there and make life easy on yourself there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it helped you maintain your Ford yourself. I'll see you next time.